Let's start recording. All right. So welcome to tonight's team call. Tonight is the 18th of December. So we are a week away from Christmas. What did I think? I was thinking a week from today was Christmas Eve, but it's not. It's Christmas. So we will not be having a team call next week. I love y'all, and I would love to spend Christmas with y'all, but I'm sure you want to spend it with your family. So we will not be having a team call. I wouldn't think on the 1st of January either, but maybe we'll have one later in the week of next week or something like that. We'll figure it out. But so real quick, a couple announcements. If you are not in the Shaun T20 test group, you need to get in it. It's going to be awesome. Obviously, it's going to blow up the internet. I keep seeing statistics, but apparently it's one of the biggest launches yet, and it hasn't really even launched yet. So that means we need to be talking about it a lot because people want results. They want them in a short period of time, and they want them with Shaun T and you. So that, and then I'm really excited about Brooke had come up with the idea of sharing our stories 1 week at a time, one or two coaches getting together and getting on these team calls, you guys, and sharing your story, sharing who you are, sharing what this amazing opportunity has done for you with your health and your fitness and anything else that it has done for you, and just getting to know our team better. Because yeah, we're in our team page, yeah, we post and we get on these team calls. A lot of time it's just me talking, which has got to get old, right? So I do appreciate too Melissa getting with Stephanie that's going to get on in 30 minutes or less than 30 minutes and go over some really awesome strategic things for us. So that's really cool too. So thank you for that. And so anyway, if you do want to sign up for a team call in the near future, let me know. I need to put like a post in our team page so you can sign up for it. And just, even if it's a segment of 10, 15, 20 minutes of you sharing who you are, anything, right? So I feel like it was an amazing idea, Brooke, to get our team closer knit together and get to know each other. And even outside of Beachbody, like, who are you, right? And we want to know. We want to, get closer and learn more about each other. So that was a really great idea. And I know a lot of people kind of fly under the radar and don't talk a whole lot or share a whole lot. And we want to get to know those people too. So I will do a post. I keep saying I'm going to do a post for people to sign up. But Brooke, it's going to be our first one in the series. And I know she's a little nervous. And I told her, y'all, I get nervous every single week when I get on these calls. Don't think that I'm not over here going, gosh, let me pray that I add some sort of value to this team, right? Because a lot of times I don't know if I'm going to. So it's nerve-wracking. I get it. But girlfriend, I know you're going to rock whatever you have to say, and you're going to bring it with heart. And because you are truly, you guys, I met her in person at Super Saturday last October, or this past October. And she's just a genuine heart of gold. And we had so much fun working out together and hanging out and just chatting and all that good stuff. So anyway, I'm really excited for you to just share you and take it away, girlfriend.
Can y'all hear me okay? Okay. Well, I am nervous, but I'm getting out of my comfort zone because before I couldn't even share my stories on Instagram. Now I talk to them like they're my best friend. And my kids think I'm crazy. So I wrote it down just in case I get nervous and forget. It's a little lengthy. Just bear with me. So my name's Brooke, for those of y'all who don't know. I'm from a small town in Georgia. It's literally, you blink, you miss it. We don't have stop sign or red lights. There's nothing here. Just a mountain. I graduated high school. As soon as I had my son when I was 18, while I was still in high school. So that was definitely a challenge. After I graduated high school, I went to college and got my CNAs. I did that for a while, and then I got married to my husband, and we moved to North Carolina. He joined the Marine Corps, so that was definitely an adventure. Then when I went to North Carolina, I went to college for my medical assistant. I got introduced to Beachbody she was a girl that I kind of like. She was in a mom's group I didn't know. She told me about it, and he was like, sure, I'll try it. Signed me up for a coach, and I don't even know where she's at to this day. So one of my colleagues in college, she introduced me to Tressa. You're probably familiar with her. I met her at a fit club. So I transferred coaches with her. She became my coach. The first program I ever did was 21 Day Fix with the containers, which I thought was silly. I was like, I got this. I hardly eat as it is anyway. So once a day, if I remember to even eat. Well, then I thought I had it all. Now I laugh at myself because I'm crazy for thinking that, because it's so much food. I eat so much more now than I ever did. So I have always been one of those who starts something, then I stop, and then I start again and stop. And it's not because I don't want to do it. It's out of fear and wondering what everyone else is going to think about me. And that's the same thing with coaching. Gosh, I've been coaching on and off since I lived in Jacksonville, and I've been back here for about 3 years now. Of course, I'm one of those who dream about the day. We all have goals. I dream about not having to worry to live paycheck to paycheck. And let's see. I know I'm changing and I'm growing. I feel it mostly. But I know that because not only because I'm going to be working harder than I was back then, because back then I just thought, I have this idea in my head and it's just going to happen. If I could give myself advice now. So for as long as I can remember, I've always wondered what it would take to be a coach. For as long as I can remember, I've always wondered what it would be like to be in a coach test group. Just like we have this one coming up now. I thought to myself this time last year, man, if I could just be in this coach test group and have that extra support, motivation with Autumn, I think this could be it. I think this could be my big shot as a coach. I was getting ready for about this time last year. I bought my bundle with the loops and sliders. I really didn't think that would be much of a difference working out. I was wrong about that too. I was all set, ready to go come January 12th, 2018. But then December 31st, 2017, I left work. As you know, I have my CNAs. I was working for one of my good friends. I was taking care of her mom. She had Alzheimer's. So I was at her house. I left work, came home. I got off work about 3 o'clock, got home that Sunday so I could finish up cooking dinner for everyone to come to my house for Christmas. We had to do a late Christmas. It hadn't even been 30 minutes. My stepdad comes flying down my driveway, told me it's time to go. My brother had been in an awful car wreck, and he had been airlifted to Erlanger, which is in Tennessee, which is about an hour and a half from where I live. So my husband's always been good about getting speeding tickets, but this is the time I didn't care if he had one. I was just ready to go. I didn't even have time to change out of my scrubs. I think I had like jogging pants on and my scrub top. January 1st, those movies that you watch, like Grey's Anatomy, they put you into this room. I was like, why are we going into this room? Well, if you watch the shows, you know what they're going to tell you when you get into that little room. January 1st, they officially pronounced my brother brain dead. They did every test you could possibly think of. But if anybody's in the medical field on here, if you go without oxygen to your brain more than 8 minutes, it's game over. And unfortunately, that's what had happened to him. January 1st is when they officially pronounced it. My baby brother brain dead at age 19. We buried him January 5th, one solid day before his 20th birthday. And one solid week of my niece's birthday. She was going to be 2 years old. Now she's going to be celebrating her second birthday without her daddy. You see, we all have a choice in this life. We all get crap handed to us, and sometimes we don't want to accomplish because of the unfair hand we are dealt. I'm guilty of that. I had every single excuse to not go through with this coach test group starting the second week in January. For once in my life, I chose to not back down this time. Was it hard? Abso-freaking-lutely. Did I want to give up? Yes, of course, but I didn't. I did it. I accomplished something so much bigger than myself. There were so many people in that coach test group that was going through just as much as I was, and I think I found that most shocking. There was a girl that was in the coach test group. She buried her mom the same day we were she worked out before she went to the funeral and posted about it. But I still pushed through. I just want you to remember how important all of you are. Don't let the devil win. Sorry, lost my place. Don't let the devil win. Before I had a more positive mindset, I used to beat myself up because I wasn't where I wished to be in life. I would see everybody else and I was like, man, I really wish that's where I was. But now I find peace in life because I realize that where I'm at, it's not permanent. I'm learning, I'm growing like this right now, me talking to y'all. If you would have told me last year this is something I'd been doing, I'd have probably laughed. No, not me. But it's only temporary, and it's up to me to make a better life, and so can all of y'all. And if anybody can do anything and grow, I know we all can, because I don't have a lot of support in this area. A lot of people don't get why they think they call me the crazy fitness lady. That's fine. I'm happy where I'm at, and I suffer from depression, and this is one outlet that I find that helps me more than anything in life with depression. I feel better, and if I go a day without not working out, I feel worse, and I can tell it. So I know this is where I belong, and I'm very thankful for all of y'all and all of the support y'all give me, and not giving up on me when I want to give up on myself. Okay, I'm done.
Oh, girl, you did amazing. You really did. You did amazing, and good God, give me boo-hoo over here. That your story truly is so inspirational. Like, I just can't, seriously. Like, you need to tell it more often, because I know that you're not telling it, and you need to tell it because you will inspire so many people. And that crazy fitness lady, that's a great name. Like, I think that should be like your handle or something. Like, use that what people are saying and be like, heck yeah, I'm the crazy fitness lady. Like, oh my God. Thank you for sharing your story. Seriously. And
well, I don't know if y'all follow this girl. She's like a comedian. It's called That's Inappropriate. She has a podcast with another lady, Juggling the Jenkins. And she said, our stories are not meant for us. They're meant to share with others. And I used to think that was so crazy, but it makes sense.
So does. Oh my gosh, it so does. And even if you breadcrumb that, I mean, like throughout your your social. I mean, like, I just can only imagine how many people will just really, really, truly appreciate it, be inspired and moved. I mean, I really didn't know I was going to be boohooing my eyeballs out. Like, but in a good way. I mean, it was just like, not in a good way, but you know what I mean. You too?
Yeah. And my mom, for my birthday, like everything she gave me was like in memory of him, and it took all I could not to cry. But he's he's not suffering, and it was unexpected, and it's made me stronger, even though I wish he was still here. I was going to show y'all. That's a picture. I don't know if you can see, but that's a picture of him and his daughter. I don't know if you can see it very well, but yeah, she'll be 3 January.
Wow.
Yeah, but she's a little rascal.
So where does she stay?
Well, she comes to my house about every other week, and I still try to keep her, and she's with her mom most of the time. Yeah.
Well, that was awesome. You did a great job. And again, I love the idea. Like, we didn't, I mean, like, I knew about your brother, but I didn't know, like, all of that. Like, so this was a great idea to, like, for us to all share, like, throughout the year, just us, who we are. So I commend you for the idea. I commend you for being the first one to step up and do it, and especially with such a powerful emotional story. So
thank
you. Oh man. Does anybody else have anything to say? Because Stephanie will be on in about 10 minutes, so we have about 10 minutes left.
Just really quick, Brooke, you're an amazing girl. Oh my gosh. I loved hearing that. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's amazing to me. And I'm so glad that you're finding the strength through that instead of using it as a negative. So I give you all the props in the world for that.
Thank you. It's crazy to think, because used to that would have been like, yes, I'm finally out. I don't have to do it. But now my mindset, it's just completely changed. And I used to think personal growth, that's just for people that like to read. And it's not. Even my husband, I catch him listening, like when I have podcasts on, sometimes he'll listen to it. And he's like, wow, that sounds good. I was like, yeah, it's good.
So Meredith said, beautiful and from the heart, XOXO. I think what a lot of people don't get too, like, yeah, we're a health and fitness company, but it's so much more. It's so much more than that. It's so much more than the workouts and the Shakeology and all. I mean, there's that. I mean, that right there is what this is all about, is pushing through the freaking hard times that we will go into, whether it's losing someone or depression or anxiety or all of the things that we deal with in life, with crisis and chaos. And this is an outlet that is super positive and warming and uplifting, and having a community like this to get on with every Tuesday night. I mean, like, you guys are family, and it's so much more. It's just so much more. So yeah, I think that people don't see that from the outside looking in sometimes, but yeah, I know I see the word sometimes, tribe, and it kind of sounds funny to some people, like, oh, you're like an Indian, like you're a tribe. But it kind of is that. It's so Melissa's crying ugly over here. Breadcrumb your story out, you'll connect with so many people that have lost loved ones over the holiday time frame. Yes.
Yeah. And it's going to be a more difficult time at this time of year, but I just, I try to find peace in it. And my mom, like, I figured, she holds me up sometimes. I figured it'd be the other way around, but she's strong. She because for Christmas, I didn't ask for anything. I just said, I'd just really like to go to Summit. And she asked me again today. She said, is that what you want to do? Is that what you want me to help you do for Christmas? I said, yes. She said, how? you've been saying this for 6 months now. So she's really starting to see too, and I think she's gonna be signing up under me soon.
Yay, good for you and good for her.
Yeah, she's Shantae talks about that not your mama step aerobics. And growing up, she still has it, the green step. So I just laugh every time I hear him say that.
I love that step. I'm loving it. So
I hadn't got it yet, but I'm excited to get it.
It's perfect. Like the size is perfect. Like I have the one from Les Mills when they're Les Mills pump.
Yeah.
It's ginormous and the material's hard. Like there could be some damage, like tripping over and like falling on your face. This one's like it's small and it's kind of like I wouldn't say it's soft, but what do you say? What do you, Melissa? Oh, I thought you were gonna say something.
Did you notice something though? In the sample video, there was one of them who had the old long step. So I was like, that's really cool. I was really excited to see that so that you could see how to use the bigger step. That was so cool. I loved it.
Yeah, the bigger step, the one step, and then not having a step. So it's like, it doesn't matter if you have a step, don't have, or do have a different step or whatever. That is, yeah, really cool. I'm surprised that we haven't run out yet.
Yeah.
But I guess they learned their lessons from past launches of running out of loops and sliders and stuff like that. People like freak out. I don't have my loops and sliders. I can't do that program. So let's see.
I did that test, the sample workout. About 2012, I painted my son's step. I made a step stool for him for the bathroom. That's what I used, and it wasn't very big. I broke my neck a couple times.
I don't know who that one is. I'm trying to see who else on here because I can't see everybody's faces. Let's see if anybody is lost before we get Stephanie on. Which is great because I'm ready to do my new vision board, and with one of the prizes for what was the last contest? It was, I don't even know what it was called now. It was in October, I think. You can win all these prizes. The vision board delivers. Sorry, emoji. Ah! There's the board. It came with magnets. You can tell I haven't opened it. I haven't done the unboxing for the T20 yet. I want to do a live with that, but sorry, it's so noisy. It's noisy. Okay, so there's a Beachbody emblem magnet. And then the Shakeology magnet. Or I could just throw things around. Magnet. And then a decide, commit, succeed magnet. So what obviously you can do is like write out whatever your goal is and then put a magnet on top of it. This is a 5-pound weight. And then the Team Beachbody logo. So we'll have to have a team call like at the first of the year on top of what Stephanie's doing tonight with creating a vision dream board for 2019. Which is going to be a great year. So I thought that was fun. That was like my ultimate goal for those prizes was to get that board. And it delivered in this big heavy box and I was like, what is this? Like, oh, vision board. So put that away. Okay. together for, yeah, absolutely. It would be awesome. Okay, so she's on her way. Yeah, I feel like it's been a while since we've set goals. Like, and you know, sometimes it's funny because some people don't want to set hairy, bodacious, crazy goals, and that's fine. But at least set something, right? Even set something, even if it's the next rank or the next month hitting Success Club, or helping one person get signed up on your team, or just something. When you don't have any goals, then you're not really working for anything. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like flying by the seat of, well, I guess I'll do this. But having set goals helps you to work towards things and gives you benchmarks, right? I remember doing a call before a long time ago when Heather Foltz is my coach, and I remember and this is like whenever I had never talked on a team call, and it's before we did Zoom. It was actually on a phone call, like a call-in conference line, and she called my name out, and I didn't know she was going to, and it was like, she said, I want to call Natalie out because she's been hitting Success Club, and I want to know how she's doing it and, you know, why or whatever. And I was like, I froze in my steps and was ready to vomit because I was like, what do you mean I have to speak on this call? And again, you couldn't even see faces then. And I was like, my stomach went like in flip-flops and butterflies. And I was like, and I know my voice was shaking on the other end. And I was like, well, I just realized that Success Club is a benchmark. And if I don't hit it, then I'm not working hard enough, or blah, 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 not talking to enough people. But I remember it was like, I had to think about that. Why hit that benchmark, right? Like, why set the goals? Because if you don't, then you're not going to work towards, what are you going to work towards? I don't know. So, anybody have anything else before Stephanie hops on? I don't know how long she is speaking. It seemed like she had a lot of content. Let's see, 20-ish minutes. Okay, that's perfect. Perfecto. I noticed that. So I've been trying to do more IG stories because that's the thing to do, right? Like, that's where magic is happening, not for me, but it's happening somewhere. I'm just doing them because people say you need to be doing them. And I notice on every single one of them, I'm like almost singing. I'm like, so today I'm drinking my Energize. And then I'm like, oh my God, I totally just sang that. And then I'll get on the next one. I'm like, I'm sorry, I really did not mean to just sing that, but I was really excited about my Energize. So yeah, hot mess. There she is, Miss Stephanie. See, I just did it again. I just sang her name. Say my name, say my name. Hey, girlfriend.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. We just had Brooke share her story, and it was quite amazing. So that was great. And we're so excited to have you and some fantastic content I see that you are going to be sharing with us.
I'm excited.
Good. Well, we're not going to take up, you're going to respect your time is what I meant to say. So if you just want to go ahead and go, then
Sure.
All right, let's go.
All right, let me just go ahead and share my screen here. Good night, baby. Love you. Trying to coordinate it all, right? All right, so we'll do that one, share. Okay. Can everybody see this okay? Yes. Okay. All right. So, hi. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm excited that we were able to do this. My name is Stephanie Snyder. I am the overjoyed mom. These are my cherubs here. My kids, I have 4 of them. They are 11, 9, 3, and 1. And then my husband, and we no longer have that dog, unfortunately, but that's our dog Chauncey. And those are my babies. So a little bit about me. I love being outside. I have a garden. If you follow me on Facebook at all or Instagram, I am obsessed with the garden. I will post pictures of it all the time. I love life. I'm just happy all the time. Sorry, not sorry. I am a Navy wife. My husband and I have been married for going on 13 years. So I'm very familiar with Navy life and all that fun stuff. Again, mom of 4 beautiful babies. And I am the doctor mom at overjoyedmom.com. I graduated last year with my PhD. I recently picked up horseback riding. So I'm obsessed with horses now. I run a lot, and my house is insanely organized. So let's go ahead and dive into what we're going to talk about tonight. So I reached out to Melissa because I was like, hey, we're going into the new year. I know what it's like to try to do all the things. And I said, can I help your team figure this out? Because as a mom of 4, I think I figured it out. Like I said, I graduated with my PhD recently. My husband's currently deployed, so I am holding up the ship with the 4 babies, coordinating all the beautiful chaos, running a business, teaching online classes, and knowing what to say no to. So the very first thing, I have notes on my phone, so I'm going to refer to my phone periodically because I don't like to read off of slides. That always irritated me when I was in school. So I'm going to have very short things on the slides, and I'm going to talk a lot. So the first thing that I had to get in order, to give you a little bit of backstory, in 2012, my husband and I moved back from Sicily. We had been stationed overseas for 3 years in Sicily, and we moved back to the States in 2012 with 2 babies that were 4 and 2 at the time. And when we lived overseas, I had a full-time husband. My husband was home all the time. And when we came back stateside, within 2 months of being stateside, he was deployed. And he was gone 270 days of that first year back to the States. And so that was a little bit of a shell shock for me. And I found myself depressed, anxious. I hated life. I constantly thought about somebody else would be better off raising my kids. I wanted to run away regularly. And it was just a bad place to be. I had angry mom issues where I screamed at my children for being children, and heaven forbid they break something. It was World War III. And so one day, my then 3-year-old, so it was end of 2012, my oldest daughter, she spilled something in the kitchen, and she frantically started to clean it up, and I reached down to help her clean it up, and she flinched at me coming to help her clean. And in that moment, I realized that I was a monster. I was terrible. And I was like, I need to do something. I need to change something, and I need to do it quick because I don't like the way that life is going. And so I had to look at what my priorities were. And so oftentimes, and I know that we see this a lot as we go into the new year, people will say, well, you're not doing it if it's not a priority. But a lot of us don't really sit down and take the time to figure out what a priority is and what order ours should go in. So at the time in 2012, my kids were the top priority. My world revolved around them. If they said jump, I said how high. And they took precedence over the relationship with my husband. So when my husband was home, he was lucky if he got 5 minutes of my time after the children were in bed, if I still had the energy to hang out with him. And so I had to take a look and see, okay, clearly with my kids as a top priority, that's not working for the rest of us. So what do I need to shift here? And I made myself the number one priority because I realized that I was trying to pour from this empty cup all of the time. And so I made sure that I was getting at minimum 5 minutes a day to myself. I don't care if I had to lock the bathroom door to keep the screaming children on the other side of it for 5 minutes. And so I started really small, 5 minutes by myself, or P90X3. That was my first home fitness program that I did. And I committed to starting that, to doing that whole thing. I got my butt kicked by Tony for sure. But that was me time. That was something that I needed to do for me to make myself the top priority. So my current priorities are me, then my relationship with my husband, then my kids, then my business, then everything else. And it goes in that order. And that's not to say the order doesn't get mixed up. You know, my husband's currently deployed, so he's not really a top priority right now. You know, when he calls, the whole world drops. But I have other time to fill in the spaces there. So the reason for the priorities is to really schedule your time. If you don't know what your priorities are, you have no idea where your day is going, plain and simple. And so to get me into the routine of making myself a priority, I legitimately printed out a calendar and I scheduled dates with myself. And I said, okay, from 5:30 to 7, that's how much time I spend with myself now every morning. I get up about 5:30 and I start to move the kids around at 7. So I have a good hour and a half to myself in the morning right now. But you should be scheduling your days around this. If you're not scheduling your days, again, you don't know where it's going to go, and someone else can easily come in because you're like, well, there's nothing on the calendar. It's fine. And then all of a sudden you're like, well, shoot, I did nothing for myself today. I did nothing towards my business today. I didn't do any of those things. And the other reason for the priorities, and this is really important, is that you can set up clear expectations and boundaries. So most of you are working and building Beachbody, is that right? Or are all of you Beachbody full-time? By a show of hands, Beachbody full-time? Okay. And then there's others of you that are working simultaneously with Beachbody. Okay, perfect. All right. So you have to set clear expectations and you have to discuss this with your partner. I've got a chat coming in here. Okay. I'm going to try to look at that. Work full-time. Okay, perfect. All right. So if you're working full-time and building Beachbody as your side hustle, it's really important that you are really clear about what your priorities are because something is going to drop. You can only juggle so many balls at the same time. And when it comes to these expectations, you need to be clear with your partner, with your husband, with your kids. If you're saying, okay, on Tuesday night, mommy spends 3 hours on Tuesday night building Beachbody. That's something that you all have to agree on at some point. Otherwise, you're going to get annoyed that the children are harassing you and your husband is screaming because he doesn't know what's going on, right? Or you're going to get annoyed that that time is occupied by something else. And so having that clear communication and talking with your partner about this and saying, hey, babe, like, this is what I want to do. How can we make this work around everybody's schedule? And that's really easy to have that conversation, but sometimes we build it up in our heads to make it this big, scary thing. The other thing for priorities, no is a complete sentence. I am a recovering people pleaser, and I thought that I needed to do everything for everybody else all of the time because I thought, well, that will make me feel good. But the truth of the matter was I did all these things for everybody else, and there was nothing left for me at the end of the day. So I've learned a great phrase, and somebody will ask me to do something, and I will check it against my priorities legitimately. I don't give an immediate knee-jerk reaction where I'm like, yes, let me do that. I will check my priorities. I will check my calendar. And if I don't have the time, or if I really don't want to do it, if I'm not like, hell yeah, let me do that, I'll say I'm unavailable for it. Plain and simple. I'm unavailable for that. I don't have to give any other excuse. I don't have to lie to them. I am legitimately unavailable for it because it's not a priority for me. And I don't want to have to take time away from something else that I want to do this thing that I don't want to do. That's not fun for anybody. All right, so moving on. Here we go. This is my favorite part. Be intentional with your time. As a mom of 4, I have to be insanely intentional with my time. Again, my kids are 11, 9, 3, and 1. And so I work the nap time hustle like it's my job. My kids are on very strict nap schedules. That keeps me sane. If they're not napping, they're having quiet time. And so from 9:30 to 11:30 and 1:30 to 3:30, Monday through Friday, I'm working. I'm doing something. I'm either on client calls, or I'm creating a new program, or I'm having calls with my accountability partners or my virtual assistant. I am working my business for those 4 hours a day in blocks of 2-hour times. The reason I do that is because I don't really need to pay a babysitter right now. Yes, I have a sitter come on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but that's so I can get out of the house and do something for myself. But I have themed my days. This sounds silly, sounds kind of ridiculous, but I have certain tasks that I do on certain days, because otherwise I will try to accomplish everything on Monday. And then I'll get to Tuesday and I'll be like, well, shoot, I did everything yesterday, so let me find something else to do. And I start to fill up the time, and I never actually get to enjoy the time with my children, because I'm like, well, let me just do some more things, or let me just check my Facebook post, or let me just check in with my team, or let me just do this. And so I have to theme my days to allow myself the break, to give myself the rest that I need to be that efficient during that time period. And so on Mondays, I usually ease into the week slowly. My first nap time hustle on Monday mornings, I go to hot yoga. So 3 of my kids are in school, the baby is at home napping with the sitter, and I go to hot yoga. I start my day, my week with myself. And then, so Monday's pretty easy. I have some client calls in the afternoon. Tuesdays are my get shit done days. So Tuesday morning, I will make phone calls. I'll set up doctor's appointments, orthodontist appointments. I'll call about bills. I'll pay bills. I'll organize our budget. I'll do all that stuff Tuesday morning. And that's my Tuesday. I set it up for Tuesday morning because most businesses are open on Tuesdays, unless it's like Veterans Day or something. Okay. Most businesses are open on Tuesdays. And so I know when I call at 9:30 on a Tuesday morning, someone's going to answer the phone. And so I'm not shuffling my day around everybody else. Wednesdays, pretty low-key days. I have client calls, first nap time hustle, second nap time hustle. If I don't have client calls, I'm usually doing some creative thing because I love creating stuff. Then Thursdays, I grocery shop. Now I'm starting to get groceries delivered, so holy fuck, opened up more time for me. And then Thursday afternoons are my creative hours. From 1:30 to 3:30, I am just creating my Facebook posts. I am checking in with my graphic designer to create some more images. I'm working on emails getting sent out. I am doing some podcasting stuff. Thursday afternoons are my creative times, and I love Thursday afternoons. I can usually lose the day that way. Fridays, don't have a lot going on Fridays. Client calls in the morning, and then Friday afternoon is the afternoon off. I spend the afternoon with myself. I'll either take a nap while the babies are napping, or I'll binge watch something on Netflix, or I'll go to the hair salon and get my hair done. Friday afternoons are reserved just for me. And by doing this, I allow myself to recuperate during the week. Now, my schedule was not always this pretty. There was a lot of time where I was like, well, shoot, like now I have this on that day and that on that day, and my schedule was all over the place. But now I'm really efficient with it, and I can go to the doctors and say, okay, my kids have to have orthodontist appointments on Tuesdays or Thursdays because that's when I do orthodontist appointments. Or they have to have their physicals on Tuesdays and Thursdays because that's when I do those things. If it's in an emergency, yes, we move on that way, right? So I theme my days. I work in 2-hour blocks. So that gives me time to be really efficient. And then I get to have lunch with my babies in the afternoon. Or then I get to make dinner with my kids in the evening. And so I know I am really efficient during those 2-hour blocks so I can be present during the rest of the day with my kids. I use a timer. When I first started this, I set a timer for 20 minutes. I made sure every single task I did took less than 20 minutes of my time. And this was because there were a lot of tasks that I didn't want to do. And if you notice, when you don't want to do a task, it takes so much longer to do it because you're like, well, I'm really reading email, and then you're like scrolling Facebook, and you're then doing the laundry, and then you're cleaning the house, and then 4 hours later you're like, shoot, I have to go back and answer the emails, right? So I do 20 minutes timers, and this is what's really important when I first started, because otherwise I had mom ADD, as I call it, where you start something at 9 o'clock in the morning, and then by 4 p.m. you've accomplished nothing, but you've been in every room in the house. So the timer is great. A lot of the tasks will not take me 20 minutes, but 20 minutes was really important for me to get those dumb tasks done. Didn't want to spend extra time or energy on it. The other thing that I started to do as I got really good at this is I have started to delegate all the crap I don't want to do. It wasn't something that I could do in the beginning, but I now have a cleaning lady. I don't clean my house. And I have an iRobot. I have a Roomba, so I don't vacuum my house either. Amazing things. Okay, I left the other day. I had the dishwasher going, the washer and dryer were going, and the Roomba was going. And I thought I was on top of the world because all these other things were getting done, and I was out enjoying myself. So I learned to delegate quickly because there is only one of me. I only have so much energy, and I want to be able to use that energy doing things that I really love to do. And I don't want to take away from all the other stuff. So next one, this is the last part, and this is one of my favorites too. So when we go to set goals, everybody talks about having these SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, time sensitive. I get it. Okay, we can all set those kinds of goals until we're blue in the face. But what happens when real life kicks in? All of a sudden we're like, well, we wanted to hit that rank by December and we didn't hit it. And so shit, now we're done with that. Like, what do you do? Well, I'm a mom and real life happens all the time at my house. And so instead of making these specific, measurable, these SMART goals my success standard, I make these SMART goals, but they don't determine whether or not I feel successful. So feeling successful to me means that I have helped one person every day, whether they signed up for me in my private coaching program or in my mommy mentorship or in any of my other group coaching programs, doesn't matter. If I have one person that says, oh my God, I loved this post you spoke to me, or she messages me and says, oh my God, I loved the episode on your podcast, one single person means that I was successful that day. And it doesn't mean that I received any kind of income. It means that I helped that person. And that is now my standard of success. And sometimes it's not necessarily a client. Sometimes it's my kid who says, thanks, Mom, for dinner. Standard of success. So if you're making these SMART goals, but then you find yourself feeling like a failure because you didn't reach that goal in your initial time frame, look back and see, okay, maybe I didn't make the money, but what lesson did I learn? Because chances are you're either you either receive income or you receive a lesson from everybody that you meet. So if you're not receiving an income, what lesson are you learning from that person? And can that lesson help you to get better at the next go around, right? And so I constantly go back and look, okay, Was I successful today? Yes. Somebody sent me an email and said, oh my God, I loved your podcast episode. Can I follow you on Instagram? I'm successful during that day. Okay. But did you feel it? Did you feel successful? Because so oftentimes, and I did a Facebook post about this, we're waiting to feel successful. We're waiting for the perfect timing. We're waiting for that rank. We're waiting for that financial income. We're waiting and waiting and waiting for that particular thing to show up for us to then feel successful and for then us to celebrate. And if you're anything like me, I'm a type A person. And I like to just check things off the list and move on, right? You're like, yeah, I got it done. Woo, what's the next thing? Got it done. The next thing, right? And you never actually take time to enjoy the success. And so you just keep chasing the next thing and you'll never feel enough. And so when you sit back and you write those goals, yes, make them SMART goals. But what do you want to feel like when you reach them? Are you going to feel happy when you reach it? Or are you going to feel happy along the way as you reach that goal? Because that's more important than being happy because you've hit that thing. Because people are going to want to work with you if you're enjoyable along the way. As opposed to saying, oh, great, yep, you're in my program. Okay, I need 14 more people. You've got to stop and celebrate each person along the way. Because that's where you're going to get the momentum. That's where you're going to find happiness. And then people are going to start showing up at your door that you didn't even have anything to do with. Because your energy is going to be amazing and infectious at that point. So none of these goals will matter if you don't feel them. One exercise that I do with all of my clients, and it's one that I do with myself, every quarter I rewrite this. And I call it the $1 million version of me. And I write down on a piece of paper every quality that I have when I'm making $1 million. So the very first thing, when I'm making $1 million, I wake up excited every single day. And so before I even get out of bed, I think, okay, what am I excited about today? And maybe it's I get to take a shower by myself. Maybe it's I get to go take a riding lesson, or, I get to go to my kids' school, or I have a client call. I wake up excited about something every single day. And that's what the $1 million version of me does as well. And so I'm starting to move into that version of me. Yes. So that $1 million version of you, highly recommend that you do it. Put it somewhere where you can see it regularly, either next to your bed or whatever it is, and start to become that $1 million version of you. Because you're not going to wake up one day and be a millionaire and not have changed. You're going to change along the way. So what does that look like? All right. Again, I love vision boards, so I know you're all doing vision boards too, right? But feel into it. There's a reason that it's visual, because visually you can feel things more than just thinking about it. So write it down, vision board, whatever it is. I don't care if you have Post-it notes all over your house. The more you feel it, the more it's going to become true. Okay, so that was me. Follow me for a bunch of free stuff. So Overjoyed Moms is my Facebook group. I forgot to put the S there. If you search it, you can find it. On Instagram, I'm Overjoyed Mom. My podcast is the Overjoyed Mom Podcast, and I didn't even put my website on here. That was silly. www.overjoyedmom.com. And yeah, I have all kinds of tons of free stuff that I'm doing regularly. Where did that page go? There's nothing on that page. Perfect. So I do have a group coaching program that starts in January called the Mommy Mentorship. And this is teaching women how to be more than just a mom, because so oftentimes we get stuck in this mom-wife mode that we forget that we're actual people. And so this is really important to me, because I forgot that I was a real person and that I had hobbies besides going to the bathroom by myself. And so I created this program to help moms shift out of that. You can find information on that on my website. Any questions? You can type it, you can unmute yourself, whatever.
What, you said something about doing client calls. What do you do for that? What exactly is client calls?
So I am a mom coach, and so I have private client calls with my one-on-one clients, and I'll do 60-minute sessions with them where we talk about whatever we're working on at that moment. So that would be client calls. I also, during that time, will take discovery calls, and this is where I will talk to potential clients. So if you have people that are reaching out to you with your going into the new year, they want to get healthy and fit, get them on the phone. Have a 20-minute conversation with them and find out what it is they actually want. So that's what I do. I have blocked off times for that. But that's discovery calls. They can book those with me online. Or if somebody reaches out to me on Facebook, I'll be like, great, do you have time to chat today or tomorrow? And I give them a specific time. But that's what the client calls are for. I just love getting people on the phone because, thank you, Brooke, because you can get so much more out of somebody on the phone than you can through a Facebook post.
Yeah, I like phone calls, or the video chat in Facebook is awesome too.
Mm-hmm.
I did that this weekend with a gal, and I now have her in the challenge group for starting next month. So yeah, I love it. I like it more that way.
Yeah, it's much more personable, and you can get a better feel of what the person wants.
Right, exactly.
I use my intuition a lot when I get on the phone with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say, you know what, this isn't a good fit for you, or we're not a good fit.
Right.
I would love to refer you to somebody else.
Yeah.
Because my energy is really important. And I don't want to use my energy on somebody who's going to just suck the life out of me.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and I'm the same way. I like to read people and how they're kind of reacting to what you're saying. And it's much easier to do so that you can kind of, you can turn a different corner instead of going in one direction. You can kind of go, okay, well, okay. So it sounds like this is what you're wanting instead, because over texting and through Messenger is just too, you can't tell.
You can't tell what they're feeling. Right.
Right, exactly. You can't tell the feeling behind just words. So, yeah. But I'm a retailer too. I was in retail for 20 years. So for me, face-to-face is so much easier. You can tell because I talk all the time. But anyway.
There's nothing wrong with that at all. Nikki says, how do you coach people who don't know their priorities? So when a potential client comes to me and she's like, I'm totally overwhelmed, I don't even know where the hell to start, that's where I start. And I'll say, okay, in an ideal world, what would you like to be doing a year from now? And I get them to dream a little bit with me, because really they're thinking a year from now is insanely far away. In the present moment, they're feeling totally overwhelmed. They don't know which way to start. And so I'll say, okay, where do you see yourself a year from now? And generally speaking, they'll say something about their finances, something about their health, or something about their current situation. So either they are overwhelmed financially, or they're overwhelmed with their children, they're overwhelmed with their days and their responsibilities. And typically that's where we start. And I'll say, okay, the very first thing, and I just did this with a client that started with me last month. She's totally overwhelmed. She was like, I don't know where the hell to start. I don't know what to do with myself. I feel lost. And the first thing we started to do was she made a list of all the things that she had to do. Because when we keep it in our head, it becomes this crazy monster that we're like, oh my God, we can't even tackle the day because we have so much to do. I felt like that this morning. I'll be honest with you, because my baby woke up at 3:00 this morning. She had a fever. And I was like, oh my God, it's 5:30 in the morning. I have to run. I've got to get my kids out the bus. I've got 900 other things to do. And so instead of feeding into that overwhelm, I picked up my phone and I made a list. And you know what? By 4 o'clock, I had done everything on my list. I sent my kids upstairs to watch a movie and I took a nap. So I finished everything on the list, but because we spend all this time, oh my God, it's going to take me forever to do that. Oh my God, what if this happens? And what if that happens? And we think it's going to take us a lot longer to do things. Whereas if we just write it down, you can bust it out pretty quickly because you know what you have to do. So that's one way that I have started doing it. And priorities, typically, I make sure that my clients are making themselves a top priority because you cannot pour from an empty glass. You just can't. And it's not always easy to get into that flow because so oftentimes we're used to somebody else running the show for us. And so it starts really small. I say take 5 minutes a day. Lock yourself somewhere, spend 5 minutes breathing, read a book for 5 minutes, or walk outside, put your feet in the grass, get some sun on your face, something for 5 minutes. And I tell them to pay attention to how it feels because we're craving that feeling, but we rush to the next thing that we don't actually get to enjoy the feeling. And so when they're spending time to themselves, what does it feel like? How did you enjoy it? Did you hear anything? And so that's one way that I really get them to realize that, hey, they're important. They're not just a mom. They're not just a wife. They've got goals and dreams too. And that's really fun to kind of open that can and watch them grow doing it that way. Great question, Nikki. Anybody else? Brooke looks like she's typing something up.
She looks intense. All kinds of notes.
Brooke, you can unmute yourself if you want.
Here you go.
All right. What advice do you give someone who doesn't have a lot of support in the home life? Okay. So I'm going to assume that this is support from your husband, most likely, or from a lack of a husband or whatever it may be. So for me, I definitely felt this when I first started because I was like, shoot, my husband's gone. Literally have no support at all. And a lot of that was really me looking and seeing what kind of support was I actually looking for. Was I looking for him to help with chores around the house? Was I looking for him to say, hey, you're doing an awesome job? Was I looking for him to give me a physical pat on the back? And I actually did a podcast on this the other day. If you don't know your love languages, go find out your love language. Because chances are you're looking for a very specific kind of support. And I bet that you've never actually communicated it with your partner. Because we get into these relationships, when you first start dating somebody, you're like, oh, it's all butterflies, it's amazing. And then you wake up, you've been married for 3 years, and you're like, who the fuck are you? Right? Like, it's not the person that you started dating because you never actually sat down and said, okay, we're getting married. This is my expectation of what married life looks like. And somewhere along the way, you're like, well, you're not meeting that expectation, so I'm going to start to resent you. And so I would look and say, what kind of support are you looking for? And are you being really clear about the support that you need? Because men are doing two things. They're going to support you or they're going to keep you safe. That's all they do. I mean, yes, they do more. They love you, those kinds of things. But they're supporting you or they're keeping you safe. So if he's not supporting you the way that you think he should, then he's probably trying to keep you safe because you're not communicating what it is that you need. And my husband's the same way. He's going to keep me safe or he's going to support me. So when I said, hey, babe, I'm going to start my own business, he went, what? Why? You're fine. You're doing a great job. Why do you, and I wanted him to be like, yay, woohoo, right? And so now I start those conversations and I'll say, babe, I need your support in this. Here's what your support will look like. And I'll say, I need you to help with the kids. I need you to offer to do X, Y, and Z. I need Tuesday nights to myself so that I can run coaching calls and client calls. And he'll go, perfect, great, let me do that. Otherwise, he's going, why are you on a call? You're wasting your time, because he's going to keep you safe from getting hurt. That's what they're doing. So again, if you're not getting the support that you want or that you need, look at what kind of support you really want. What kind of support do you need? Do you need help around the house? And if you need help around the house, are you actually communicating it? This is one thing I do with a lot of my clients, because they're like, well, I told him to take out the trash. And I'll say, okay, really, how did you tell him to take out the trash? Well, I said the trash was full. I said, you didn't actually tell him to take out the trash. You simply made an observation that the trash was full. Okay? So if you want your husband to take out the trash, you have to say, hey, babe, the trash is full. Can you take it out now? But you can only say that when he's not on his phone or watching a video game or a football game. Okay? Men are single focused. So they're only going to focus on one thing at a time. And that's so infuriating to us as women. Clearly, I can go off on a tangent about this. But women are multi-focused. So we walk into a room and we see everything on the floor that needs to be picked up. And a man walks into the room and he sees an empty couch and nobody has the TV on. So he'll sit down on the couch and he'll turn on the TV. And all hell could be breaking loose. But he is focused on that TV and he doesn't know that anything else is going on. And so I have to remind myself, yes, Melissa says, I hate when she does this to me. Was Eric on YouTube when he said that? Yes. So I do this to Melissa a lot. Melissa and I talk and I'm like, what was he doing when you asked him to take out the trash? But you have to, men, they think differently than women. They are not just hairy women. They are men. They're very different. And so you have to keep that in mind. And so you have to know what it is you're expecting from him, because otherwise you have to drop those expectations. If you're not going to communicate it with him, then you can't hold on to that expectation, because that's not fair to anybody. I hope that answers your question. Long, convoluted way. Yes. So Melissa's in the Overjoyed Moms group. It's not just for moms. I talk about a lot of relationships in there as well. So it is for wives. We do talk about mom stuff too, but a lot of it intertwines, believe it or not. Any other questions, ladies?
Do you want a team picture? Put your face on if you want in the picture.
Nikki, I'll answer your question in 1 second, hun.
There we go. Nikki, it's fun to be fit. Okay.
Nikki says, would it be good for a teacher? Yes, absolutely. I have tons of information in the Overjoyed Mom groups. I do live Facebook trainings every Tuesday and Thursday. And I pop in there periodically to just cheer you all on. And so, yes, a teacher, a woman in general, I give all kinds of advice, and I love it. So it doesn't hurt. Doesn't hurt at all. Any other questions? I hope that was the question that you were asking, Nikki.
I think so. All right, ladies, look at our good-looking crew. I mean, okay. On 3, guys. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you so much. That was so awesome. I've got some notes, and I'm going to go back and listen again because it was so many great nuggets. So good.
Thank you.
So good. Priorities. Intentional.
Yes.
My God.
Yes, you have to be very intentional, because otherwise your time just
Yes.
away. Kind of like our money. If you're not intentional with your money, it just disappears. And you get to January 1st and you file your taxes and you're like, I made how much? Nothing to show for it. Right? Yeah.
Oops.
Same thing with your time. I had 365 days and I did what with it? Great. Yeah. All right, ladies. Have a fabulous night.
Much. Really appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. Love you guys.